day. Lysol brand disinfectant, America's largest selling disinfectant. Ask for Lysol at your druggist today.
Can you believe that Lysol disinfectant was once promoted as a contraceptive for women? It may sound unbelievable, but Lysol was marketed as a feminine intimate product. In fact, that is both amusing and disturbing.
For as long as men and women have been having children, they've been trying to figure out how not to.
And disturbing. Let us explore the frightening story behind Lysol being advertised as contraceptive in the past.
Many women would use household products such as Lysol or Coca-Cola, which they believed would kill sperm. Advertisements for Lysol even endorsed the product as a way for women to protect their married happiness.
Vintage advertisement can be shocking and funny at the same time. Some of the most often shared old adverts have ladies using Lysol brand disinfectant for feminine hygiene. Women in advertisements claimed, "I use Lysol always for douching." The idea of using Lysol for douching makes everyone frown because back then, Lysol was an antiseptic soap whose pre-1953 formula contained Lysol, a phenol compound reported in some cases to cause inflammation, burning, and even death. She was a jewel of a wife, with just one flaw, reads one ad from the era. She was guilty of the one neglect that harms many marriages. Lysol helps avoid this. Admonitions from another, this one with a first-hand account from a resuscitated union. Our romance is so special again, now that I know about the proper feminine hygiene care. Since I had that talk with a doctor, I used Lysol always for douching. If you thought that women were persuaded to believe that their intimate areas smell awful and they need to use Lysol to keep them hygiene, you are wrong. In reality, Lysol was targeting these people who wanted not to get pregnant while engaging in sex. Then why was Lysol masked under the label of a feminine hygiene product rather than a contraceptive? To answer this, we need to dig into the history of the contraceptive laws in the USA.
Women had a hard time getting their hands on effective contraception. Anti-obscenity laws in the US restricted anyone, including doctors, from spreading information about it.
In this advertisement, you can see an unhappy woman with her child and her husband leaving her, indicating that they have an unhappy marriage. And the reason? This advertisement indicates that children are the reason behind quarrels between married couples and urges others to stop making the same mistake as an unhappy couple in the advertisement. The bottom line? Use contraceptives. The sexist belief that women's intimate anatomy is naturally unclean has its roots in a biblical theory. However, these advertisements aim to accomplish more than just humiliate wives into winning over their husbands. In the late 19th and early 20th century, douching was promoted as an effective method for birth control, although it was more similar to the postcoital Plan B pill than the preventive daily pill, as author Andrea Tone pointed out in her 2002 book Device and Desire, A History of Contraceptive in America. Additionally, douching goods were prohibited from being marketed as a birth control due to the Comstock Act of 1873, which categorized contraception as an obscene and illicit. And so, feminine hygiene became a euphemism, as did words like germicide, which has a handy feature of rhyming with a word is replacing, which is spermicide. Birth control is forbidden and viewed as indecent and anti-religious under the 1892 Criminal Code in Canada and a comparable statute in the US. A 2-year prison term could be enforced on the accused. The First World War and the poor economic conditions after the Great Depression of 1929 demanded population control. The industry-backed government-endorsed condoms, and contraceptions for female war workers were encouraged during the war. Abortions were illegal unless the woman's life was in jeopardy, yet they were nonetheless performed covertly with little help of the authorities. Despite stringent restriction on access to abortion during the post-war period, desperate women persisted in seeking abortions through illicit means, travel abroad, or self-induced. Sales of under-the-counter contraceptives such as Lysol were boosted by this. In actuality, Lysol ended up being the most popular kind of birth control during the Great Depression. If the idea of using Lysol as a spermicide makes you cringe, then it probably should. The Lysol formula back then was far stronger than the Lysol that we use now for bathroom cleaning. Lysol disinfectant was marketed as a female contraceptive douche and sold in Canada and the United States during the interwar era. In actuality, Lysol rose to prominence as the most popular over-the-counter contraception in the euphemistically dubbed feminine hygiene sector, although the sales of contraceptives have been outlawed in the United States and Canada since the late 1800s. Clever manufacturers had begun to market products purporting to have contraceptive qualities by the 1920s, such as foaming tablets, vaginal douches, and vaginal jellies, as was the case with Lysol. Advertising, as several of its contemporaries claimed, was crucial for the feminine hygiene industry's success. It is important to examine Lysol's interwar advertising strategy to learn how the corporation tried to explain the benefits of its product to married, middle-class, white women consumers while avoiding legal consequences, to capitalize on contextually specific trends, such as women's fear of premature aging and loss of sexual attractiveness, the risk of maternal morbidity and mortality, and the threat of marital problems coming with children. Lysol advertisements in North America were created using euphemistic language and emerging modern advertisement techniques to appeal to consumers' emotions rather than their sense of reason, as had previously been the case. Historian Andrea Tone suggested that the term feminine hygiene used in the old Lysol ads was a euphemism. In the US, birth control was prohibited for married couples until 1965 and for single individuals until 1972. In reality, these Lysol advertisements promote contraceptions. During the Great Depression, Lysol became the best-selling method for contraception because of this advertising. And what was the result of this dangerous advertising campaign? A wash of Lysol a day keeps the babies away. However, not only did it not work as intended, in 1933, research involving 507 women revealed that half of those using douching as a method of contraception ended up pregnant, but it was also lethal. According to Tone's book, by 1911, doctors had recorded 193 Lysol poisoning, including 21 suicides, 1 homicide, and 5 deaths from uterine irrigation. Similar findings were found in the 1956 studies in the Lysol-induced criminal abortion, which identified phenol poisoning as a contributing factor in the death of one of the study's patients. Lysol contained phenol back then, and it does now. Naturally, this was still a bad idea because Lysol might have been corrosive to the sperm but injured the women's inside tissues. Furthermore, compared to today's Lysol, the Lysol used back then was far stronger. Hundreds of people died from Lysol exposure, some of them women using it as a birth control. Doctors discovered uterine irrigation's death and cases of Lysol toxicity. Lysol was extensively marketed to women as mild and harmless despite report of the opposite. Lysol was marketed as an antiseptic that was effective in treating ringworms and cleaning toilet bowls once orthohydroxydiphenol was used to replace Cresol in the Lysol formula. The manufacturer, Lennon Fink, also persisted in marketing the disinfectant as a defense against women's dainty feminine allure. To make matters worse, Lysol isn't even a reliable method for birth control. Do you want to know some other crazy so-called contraceptive methods practiced around the world? Some methods involve the body being exposed to or ingesting harmful substances. Certain products such as vinegar, lemon juice, and disinfectant are occasionally used vaginally. These may result in burns, rashes, and other harm. Some employs herbs that have no effect in preventing pregnancy, such as ginger. Although some herbs like neem and rue have been used for centuries, doctors caution that no substance dosage for these plants is considered safe or beneficial. Some people choose to use things instead of condoms, using balloon or plastic bags. On the other hand, plastic and balloons are flimsy. These items may also cause pain. The hard plastic freezer props wrapper is used as a substitute for condoms in at least one country, which may cause gentle ripping. Do you guys remember Donald Trump's dangerous suggestion that household disinfectants could be ingested or injected to kill the coronavirus?
Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning?
The company that makes Lysol, Reckitt Benckiser, released guidelines on the subject right away. The company released a statement saying, as a global leader in health and hygiene products, we must be clear that our disinfectant products should never be administered into a human body through injection, ingestion, or any other route. They also made it clear that our hygiene and disinfectant products should only be used as intended and in accordance with usage guidelines, as with all products. To be clear, Lysol has never been safe to ingest as medicine and is not a medicine. But while Lysol's clarification in 2020 neglects to mention that from the 1920s to the 1950s, the brand was telling a decidedly different story, that Lysol was a trusted feminine hygiene product, which among other things was a euphemism for contraception. Even though Lysol was wrongly and dangerously marketed, do you think that Lysol has broken taboos related to intimate hygiene and contraception? Tell us in the comments. That is all for now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it entertaining, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss any future content from us.